But according to many theologians, there are two foundations or two meta-disciplines of Islam. The first meta-discipline is called Usul-ul-Din, or what typically is translated as theology. And the second is Usul-ul-Fiqh, which here is Islamic legal foundations, or what I translated as legal theory, perhaps, again, limiting, acknowledging that it limits really what Usul-ul-Fiqh is. But I'll say these Islamic legal foundations that through theology or the belief in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, a person becomes a Muslim, and the belief in his messenger as well. But God expects from us certain things. And so fiqh is a meta-discipline which helps to extrapolate from the text things which are unmentioned by the text itself based upon the examination of certain linguistic constructs, among other things. That's, in short, of course. But then again, there are other scholars who say that there are no two there are no two meta-disciplines, or rather, actually, there's only one meta-discipline, and that meta-discipline is theology, and everything else is falls under theology. So the fiqh and aqidah, everything about fiqh and tasawwuf and all these other things would fall under theology. So the true meta-discipline is that of theology, and it's a very strong position as well. Now, I entitled this course the Islamic Criteria for Moral Judgment, and I do want to spend just a little bit of time speaking about what I deem to be one of the basic differences between law and morality. Now, law is extremely important for Muslims, as we know, but I would disagree with the many Orientalists who have argued for some time that Islam is a religion more and focused on orthopraxy than on orthodoxy. That is to say that the practice of Islam is more important than the beliefs or the doctrines related to God and His messenger and the afterlife, among other things. I totally disagree with this, especially being that mainstream Islam or Orthodox Islam has taught that an individual does not become a non-believer through the abandonment of an obligation unless he or she believes that it's no longer an obligation, or through the commission of a sin unless he or she believes that a thing which is clearly a sin is no longer a sin. So that in itself, meaning that that there's a big tent sort of type of teaching about doctrine, that as long as the person believes in Allah and His messenger and the other tenets of faith, that person is included among the believers, amongst the Muslims, even if the person is not praying or fasting, or even if the individual may drink wine from time to time. As long as the individual is acknowledging that wine is unlawful, and one acknowledges that prayer is compulsory, then that person is deemed to be a believer, believed to be a Muslim. Of course, not a good Muslim, but still is included in the sphere of acceptability or the big tent of Islam. And so this idea of law being equated with praxis, and Islam being a religion of orthopraxy rather than orthodoxy, that is something I completely disagree with. And so I wanted to, but the difference between law and morality, in my view, I guess the best way I could explain this would be through an example. For instance, in Islamic law, Sharia or Fiqh, it is lawful for a Muslim man to take more than one wife, up to 4. So it is lawful. This is what the Sharia tells us, what the law tells us, that it's permissible for a man to take one, 1, 2, or 3, or 4 wives at one time. But the moral teachings of any religion or any tradition perhaps lead us to consider another thing, and I would say that morality is about focusing on how our actions and our decisions affect others. So, for instance, I might say, well, yes, I can take a second wife, but I then have to ask the question about how will my actions affect my wife, and how will my actions affect my children if I did so. So morality itself, it can be, in this case, I'm talking about something a bit more internal. It pertains to the human heart, or what is traditionally we call virtue ethics. And so I'm not speaking about Kant's deontology, where his duty-driven morality or ethics, nor am I talking about consequentialism or utilitarian types of ethics. I'm speaking about virtue ethics, a type of ethics which is concerned with helping people to become better people. And so when we talk about Islamic criteria for moral judgment, that we're talking about, this would translate in Arabic as like hukum khuluqi or hukum akhlaqi. Hukum akhlaqi is sort of what is the hukum akhlaqi of this particular thing. The first criteria for moral judgment is to have knowledge of the law, because you can't have morality without law. And this is one thing we know, that Islam gives us a foundation, so it teaches us what we must do and what we must avoid. And without that, we cannot talk about, a person's heart being in the right place or not. And so moral judgment is not, the foundation of moral judgment is not feeling. As some scholars today have said, we live in the age of feeling, that people do what they feel like doing, and what's good is what you feel like doing, or you are whatever you feel you are. Rather, morality, all morality has to be rooted in some type of law. And there are many different types of judgments. Some judgments are sensate, so we can judge a thing to be like, for instance, the ground is below me, and the sky is above me. This is a sensate judgment, a judgment of the senses. Or it can be an empirical judgment. It can, where it's based upon repetition and experimentation. So I can say, we know that water quenches thirst. We know that food, it satiates a person. We know that fire burns when you put the hand on it. But that's based upon repetitive action, and we come to this judgment and realization. So it begins with the senses, and then the empiricity is what leads us to draw these particular conclusions. Some judgments are shara'i, or revealed judgment, revealed laws, and this is what we believe in. Sharia is revealed law, and so sometimes it challenges the senses. It challenges what we know through experience as well. And so we, as Muslims, Islam demands from us to resist our urges at times. That whoever fears standing before his Lord and prevents the nafs, prevents the self from following his whim or following his lust, then paradise is the refuge. This is what the Quran teaches us, So Islam means submission, and that implies that there will be times when we will be challenged. That we will our mind will say that we should do this. Our emotion or our appetites would say, I think this is better to do. But Islam says, no, this is what you have to do. And we resist our passions. We resist our whims. We resist our emotions, our feelings, in order to surrender to the Creator. And so this is why this has been called Islamic criteria for moral judgment.